Welcome to the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast, where you'll be guided on how to step up into your evolved woman,
design your dream life, and start living it. Let's get vibey.
What's up, Pretty Vibe Tribe? Welcome to another episode of the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast. Today, Mary and I are bringing you a very unique episode. We are going to give you guys some life updates and just kind of let you into our personal experiences and our personal lives a little bit more today. And of course, there's going to be so much wisdom tied into this.
Yes, I feel like every time Sarah and I have these kind of conversations together, there are so many big takeaways. Like, is it weird that I take notes sometimes when we chat? Because I'm like, okay, I need to remember this, need to remember this.
No, but I love that.
I feel like there's so many times where we're just chatting and I'm like, dang, I wish we were recording this so that we could share it with you guys. Yeah. So we have both had a lot of just crazy, big, expansive things going on. And we want to chat about it and share it all with you guys.
Yes.
That's what we're doing today.
I'm so excited. But before we do, I do want to share something with you guys. So obviously the holidays are coming up. If you're listening to this live in real time, holidays are right around the corner. And honestly, I don't think I could survive the holidays without breath work or without some kind of sacred space created. It's funny, when I was thinking about this earlier today, I used to think about how much of a little bitch I used to be around the holidays. Truly. Yeah. I love holidays and it's really exciting and fun for me. And I used to be such a little brat about things. And it was and you guys know, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I used to struggle with being a control freak. And I used to really be controlling and a planner. And if I planned out some event for the holidays, whether it was baking cookies with my family in a movie or a Christmas party, and it didn't go according to plan, or my mom got out the karaoke machine when I didn't want to do karaoke, I'd be pissed. And also with gifts, I used to be and you guys, mind you, this is before my personal development journey, but I used to be such a brat. If I didn't get what I wanted, I would be upset. Or if Christmas morning didn't go the way that I had planned it to, it would ruin my whole day. So anyway, obviously
the holidays they can be really intense. And I know for me, even though I do feel like I become more grounded and more patient and more kind and compassionate every year that goes by, as I continue to do the work that we talk about on the show, the holidays are tricky.
Yeah.
They're tricky.
And family, right? And
right.
Either family or not.
Coordinating schedules with everyone and getting everyone on the same page about things. And then oh, you said you were going to do this. And then, oh no, I never said I was going to do that. And you're like, oh, well, mother, know, what is going on here? Yeah. And it's just, and it can be so stressful, and it definitely take you to a not so happy place during such a joyful, happy time.
Right.
If you're not doing those practices.
It's bizarre, right? And it kind of goes back to our episode last week, was it? The balancing the emotions and the two different emotions. It's it's an exciting time, and it can be fun and love and compassion. And there can be a lot of stress and worry and upset and angst, because another thing too is being around family who you don't necessarily vibe with, trigger city. Another thing for me used to be food. Just being tempted by so much food during Thanksgiving and Christmas cookies. And I would always overeat, and binge and emotional eating for me really ramped up throughout the holidays. So my point is, breathwork seriously carries me through the holidays at this point in my life, creating that sacred space to breathe, to release stuck emotions, to release stress, to release worry about being around certain family members, and really just to connect to my body so that I can listen to my body's wisdom more when I do go to eat at the holiday parties. It's a game changer. So I have 3 live breathwork sessions coming up. If you enroll in them, you also get the replay. So you don't have to be there live. Of course, it holds you accountable, but if you can hold yourself accountable, and Mary, I'm sure you can speak to this, replays are just as powerful. And I'm gonna actually talk about a replay I did myself later on in this episode that is changing my entire life as we speak, which is so crazy to me. But anyway, I have one. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who are my year up breathers, because I know a few of you are inward and upward, this is like perfect timing for you. I have one December 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then December 15th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tomorrow's theme is all about gratitude, since in the United States, Thanksgiving is next week. And so we're going to focus on really cultivating that gratitude and love in our bodies. December 1st is a December reset. So that's when we just reflect on the month of November, to kind of see where we did really well and where we could have improved. And then we set intentions for December, which can be so powerful once again, because of the holidays. And then December 15th is all about creating that mind-body connection to empower you to listen to your intuitive hunger cues as you start to show up to holiday parties and Christmas cookie parties and all the goodies that come with the holidays. Like I was saying, December 15th is all about, let's learn how to connect to our bodies to listen to that inner wisdom. And not only with food, but another big one too is listening to your body when it tells you to take space. So, and like boundary setting during holiday parties. Like for me, I remember once upon a time before this work, I would be at a holiday party and I'd start to feel everybody else's energy in the room. And I'd start to be upset by something an aunt or a cousin said, or something my mom did, or like an embarrassing comment made. And I would force myself to still stay with my family in like the living room or in the kitchen, even though I was like hurting inside and like really upset. I'm at the point now where I feel the angst in my body at a holiday party and I take some space. Like I can drop in. I'm like, oh, I can feel I need some space. So I'll go upstairs and take a breather, or go to the bathroom, or just go outside and take some breathers, like some air, take some air in. So that's what December 15th breathwork session is going to be all about. It's just like that mind body connection. So I will drop the links for all these sessions in the comments, but if you are in Inward and Upward, which is my month-to-month membership, all of these are included. So Inward and Upward, you guys all here on the podcast get 2 weeks free, and then it's $33 a month after that. So if you want to join that, you can get maybe the first one for free, and then it'll be $33 for all of them. But if you want to just drop in, it's $22 per drop in. So I will include the links. Come breathe with us and create that space for yourself to prepare for the holiday season.
Yeah, that is breathwork during the holidays. I don't think it gets any better than that. Because they can feel very chaotic and very overwhelming, and you can just get all up in your head, and that breathwork is going to bring you right back into the present moment and into your body.
And like allow you to enjoy, like we're supposed to enjoy the holidays. We're supposed to like, and I say supposed to lightly, but the holidays are here for us to enjoy and to love and to connect, to love ourselves, to love others. And the chaos can really get in the way of that. So
yeah, and it doesn't need to be that way. I think that's a big piece, is you will hear and see a lot of memes and people bitching and complaining about the holidays and stressing, and like, hi, I've 1,000,000% been there too. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be very enjoyable. It can be full of love and excitement and fun together with people that you love the most. And this tool that Sarah's offering is going to help get you there. So,
well, I'm offering, and Mary, congratulations, officially a breathwork facilitator. This is like a great segue into our episode.
Perfect. Yeah. So you guys, I just got back from my graduation in Austin, and this whole experience has been such a learning experience for me, not just learning the breath work and how to facilitate, but in being a mom and doing something for myself when everything in my life could kind of lead me towards like putting it off and doing it at another time. And especially like this was the first time I left Ava overnight for days in a row, and that was really scary and very emotional. But yeah, holy smokes, I am so excited to officially be able to facilitate breath work. So I'm trained in the same modality that Sarah is. So we both went through the reset breathwork method with the healing couple, and we have an incredible podcast episode where we interview them and So definitely go listen to it. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was such a great episode about breath work. And that was actually like the moment for me. Yeah, that was like after that episode, I was so blown away. I knew Sarah had so many good things to say about their program. So I was like, and then it was coming up very soon. Like, I want to say it was like the next week or 2 weeks, maybe after we interviewed them, was when the breathwork training was starting. And I just felt really called to do it. So I decided to go for it and make it work. And it was a challenge. Like, there were definitely moments where I was feeling, overwhelmed, and it was just a lot. And I sometimes felt like I wasn't as present as I wanted to be, but it also stretched me outside of my comfort zone a lot. And I'm just so grateful. So like, I facilitated a session, like a practice session with a couple of my close friends. And after that, I had this moment where I felt like, Mary, you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Like, yes, more people need to be practicing breath work. And I am so excited to be able to offer that on top of yoga. Yoga is incredible. Yoga has changed my life, but yoga for me has only taken me so far, where I feel like breath work has kind of like picked it up there and taken it even further for me.
Right.
And like, cause I was trying to think of like how to explain it to someone who like doesn't know what breathwork is and hasn't done it. I mean, you guys obviously know we talk about breathwork on here. I'm not kidding. Like every single episode, I feel like, but for me, like a way for all my yogis to get a deeper understanding is like, if you love the mental benefits that yoga brings you, whether that's on your mat or in your time spent off the mat, like when you start to notice yourself breathing deeper, when you used to just start to like panic and kind of freak out and get really angry or have like a very like reactive response to something, or if you find yourself being like more at peace and more content in your everyday life, and you're like, dang, this yoga practice is like changing my life. I know for me, it was like my relationships. I felt like I could come to my relationships with this more like calm and loving presence than I could before. And if you enjoy those kind of benefits from yoga, you are going to freaking love what breathwork does for you.
Yeah.
Because it just like takes all of that and like times 1,000.
Right.
So,
well, and I would say too, to add on to that, with my experience in yoga, because I'm a yoga teacher as well, and I like was very called to the training because same thing, like similar story. Yoga changed my life, and that's really when I started to figure out like, whoa, I'm more than just a physical body and a mind. There's more to me. And I feel like with yoga, there's still, I mean, even to this day, even though I'm pretty in tune with myself and I walk into a yoga studio, and even the way I teach, it's very much so focused on mental and emotional. But even when I am being a student and even when I am teaching, there's still a lot of emphasis on the physical, which the physical poses are amazing. And they do release emotion in themselves. Like I do hip opening poses all day, every day, because I feel anxiety being stored there. And it kind of, and I think that's too why people like yoga, is because it helps you be present, which is hard for people. And a way that it helps you be present is you have to be focusing on what the instructor is saying in order to get yourself into the position or the pose properly in a way that will give you the max physical benefit. So I think there's still, yoga is amazing for the mind, body, and soul. And there's like still really heavy emphasis on like the physical. And with breath work, there's like no emphasis on the physical. You know what I mean? It's like you're not worrying about if your alignment is right. Of course, when you're a first time breather, you're probably like, am I doing this breath right? And that's very normal. But what I'm saying is once you start that 3-part breath, you don't know what you look like. You don't care what you look like. You are just so in you. And like we talk about all the time as well, it's, you have to dive inward in order for anything to change in your life.
Yep.
And it's like in breath work, your eyes are closed and you are diving in. And that is like the difference for me, is like
going deep.
Yeah. You're going in. So do you want to like, I want you to tell everybody just like a little bit about your life and what's happening, and like share some things about graduation if you
want to. So graduation was in Austin, Texas, which was a really fun town. I would love to go back and spend more time there. But so it was a long weekend, and I won't lie, like I was kind of not looking forward to it. I was very, very emotional around leaving Ava overnight. And even though I knew she was in good hands, like my mom and dad were coming to help, watch her. Jake was going to be with her. So I knew she was in good hands, but I've never spent that much time away from her. And I was not looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And like the anticipation and all that, like it was heavy. It was I cried a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But once I did it, it was cool too. One thing I want to add, which is really fun, and I'm very grateful for my community, is like I was sharing some of that in my story, and I got so many kind and loving messages from other moms and from just other dads, like people who are like, it's very hard. Like you are correct. Like this, it is okay to feel what you're feeling, but no, like it is okay.
Yeah.
And they're 100% correct. As soon as I, got out the door, I cried like on and off on the way to the airport. And then like, once I was like on the plane, I felt already so much better. And I feel like a really good way to describe it was like, I didn't realize how empty my cup was until I filled it that weekend and came back. And I was kind of going through the motions and doing the things I thought I needed to do. And it was fine. But it was like that idea of like putting glasses on for the first time. Like once I realized and like did refill all the freaking way to the top after that weekend, I felt so much better coming back. And so this is just my reminder to any of you mamas out there, like, yes, we can sit here and preach it all day, fill your cup, fill your cup, fill your cup, but it is so important for you to do that, and for everyone. But I can definitely speak to the mamas right now because I thought I was filling my cup and I wasn't.
Yeah.
In the way that I really needed to. But yeah, graduation, holy shit, like so fun. Got to connect with so many beautiful souls. Like I had like visions too of future retreats for us, like the Her Vibe is Pretty crew. Like,
oh my gosh,
getting to meet people who care and are interested in the same things that you are is so profound. And you can feel that energy. You can literally feel it in your body. And so that was amazing to meet these people that I've been in this training with for, a couple months. And now we all get to come together. But I went into the weekend like with the intention of really figuring out my truth. What is my truth? And as well as accepting it, feeling it, honoring it, and then being comfortable to act on it and speak to it. And I know like, so kind of what that means is like, I catch myself sometimes like doubting what comes to me. Like, is my opinion worthy? Is my opinion right? I don't want to look stupid. All these people don't feel this way. So like, I'm just not going to say anything. And kind of doubting, like putting more value in other people's opinions instead of my own. And I really want to get away from that. Like it's not like I don't care about what other people think or care their opinions, but I need to trust my own. Like I need to trust my own intuition. And so that, and act on it and speak on it as needed.
Yeah.
And so that was my intention going into this weekend. And I had a really crazy experience where I got to put this like into play, like into action. So I'm going to try not to cry too much when I share
I know. I teared up when you told me. So be prepared, you guys. It's very deep.
So like we were saying before, when you do breath work, like you can go really, really deep within yourself and you can have very profound experiences. So we were all partnered up throughout the weekend, and you had kind of like had your partner for the different activities we did. And so it was the last day we were facilitating each other for a short session. And the person I was partnered with had lost, their mother passed away. And I knew this from the very beginning. This is actually how they got into breath work in the first place, was because of, kind of coping and dealing with the grief and the loss of their mom. And so during our session, get them into place, getting her through the breath, saying our affirmations. And I get this nudge to take my hands and like put them through her hair and like hold her head while she's breathing. And you can give some touch like throughout a breathwork session. It's kind of like yoga too. Like there are adjustments and like you can do them, you don't have to do them, sort of thing. But there's not a ton of touch in breathwork all the time. And so I kind of was like, I'm that's a little weird and pretty personal. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. Well, then I get that nudge again. That's like, put your hands through her hair, hold her head. And again, I'm kind of like, I don't know. We're like getting towards the end. So I just kind of, kept her breathing, kept her, saying our affirmations. And then I got like a full blown shove is what it felt like. That was like, I need you to take your hands and put them through my daughter's hair and hold her head for me. Oh, you guys. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? This is my truth.
Yeah.
It's coming to me. I'm doing what I always do, doubting it, second guessing it. I'm going to go for it. Like, this is the safe space to go for it.
Right.
So I take my hands, I put them through her hair, I hold her head for that last bit. And she starts crying. I'm crying, both crying. And, we end at the end of a breathwork session. You guys know, like, you feel like you are floating, you're buzzing, you're feeling all the feels. Like, it is just the most beautiful, grounded place. I feel like I say grounded, but you also feel like you're on top of the world. Like, it is an incredible feeling. So we're settling in. And as I bring her back out of the session, she was like, Mary, I have never experienced a breathwork session like that before. She goes, I saw my mom. And then I lost it again. She's crying. And that's when I shared with her, like, I don't know what you believe in, but I was like forced to do this, like, in a good way. Like, I was really nudged, and I believe that was your mom doing it.
She totally came through you.
Oh, it was
so beautiful.
It was such an incredible moment.
Yeah.
It was such an incredible moment. I like literally have chills and like am getting teary-eyed again, just thinking about it, because this work is so powerful.
Yeah.
And like, that was another big message that I was getting to myself, is like, Mary, your message and your teachings are worthy. The world needs them. Like, you need to keep showing up. You need to keep using your voice, and like tying that back into that, my intention for the weekend. Like, you need to trust what comes to you and honor it and speak it and share it.
Yeah.
Don't keep it to yourself.
Right.
Don't second guess it. Don't, think it's not as good as someone else's answer or opinion or take on something. Like, you need to share what you have. You cannot give up. You cannot stop.
Yeah.
And so, I feel more inspired than ever, which, again, going back to like another life update, which I'll let Sarah share one of hers before I talk too much about Ava, but that's been probably one of my biggest postpartum struggles, has been finding that balance between work life and mama life. And I'm totally guilty of trying to do it all.
Yeah.
Wear all the hats all at the same time. And I'm working on finding a good balance there. But the thought has crossed my mind, like, girl, just quit it all, just be a mom. That's the most important thing. And it absolutely is the most important thing I'm doing right now. But this weekend and breathwork in itself is just reminding me and showing me, like, this is very important too. And the importance of finding that balance and to feel inspired again to work is a really, really good feeling.
Yeah. I'm so happy for you. And we can all learn from what you're experiencing right now, because we all have a very important message, a very important purpose, mission on this world. I don't know where this stat comes from. I don't know if somebody channeled it or what, but if you look it up on Google, you can, and I heard this from somebody, so I went and looked it up myself. It's estimated that there's a 1 in 400 trillion chance, 1 in 400 trillion chance that your soul gets born on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of you listening, you all have something to bring here. I mean, a 1 in 400 trillion chance. You have that inner voice, you have that deeper wisdom. Like you are here for a reason. And I fully believe that. Like it's not just a coincidence that your soul chose to be on Earth and that your soul chose to be listening to this episode here and now. Mm-hmm. So I love, Mary, that you're like, just like following those nudges and following those voices. And that's kind of something that I'm going through right now, is really realizing that there's still a lot of cloudiness in the mind of me as to like what I should believe and what I should think and what I should say. And it's really easy to get clouded by other people and their opinions and their thoughts, especially if they're people you love. But that's not fair to our soul to like just give into that so easily. So it's really beautiful that you're like, I'm following the nudges, I'm doing it. Yeah. And you guys, when you follow those nudges, I mean, it's not easy by any means, because I'm following a nudge right now too. And it's not easy. And there's pain and there's discomfort and there's a lot of shit that comes up when you follow those nudges. And it always creates so much beauty, not only for yourself and your life and your human experience, but for the rest of the world and for those that you love and for those that you're here to serve.
Absolutely. And I think that to me is one of those, like, everything you just said was so beautiful, Sarah. And I agree with 100%. Like following those nudges is so important.
Yeah.
That will lead you the right way. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they feel very big and very scary. And that's why it's so easy to just like make those excuses. Like our mind just starts up like, no, don't do that. Like, that's weird. Why would you do that? You know, that's going to be really hard. That's going to be really scary. You're going to fail. So don't even try. Mm-hmm. But those nudges is our soul speaking to us.
Yeah.
And it's our job to quiet the mind, hear mm-hmm. those nudges, and take that inspired action.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times too, what stops us from following those nudges is, and you kind of mentioned it, is worrying about other people and what other people are going to think about what I say or what I do. And I was actually just listening, and I've been reflecting on this a lot lately with what I'm flowing through my life right now. What are others going to think?
Yeah.
Are others going to judge me for my decisions? And
I mean, that was in that breathwork session. I was like, that's weird. Don't do that. She's going to be like, why are you touching me?
Yeah. And it's like, at the end of the day, you guys have to make a decision. We all do, as to whether, like, what's more important, potentially being judged or following your soul's desires and the life you were here to live. So my mentor, I was just listening to one of my mentors speak, but like earlier today, when I was showering, I was listening to one of her Q&As, and she was like, somebody had asked, you know, what if I open up one-on-one spots in my business and I market for a couple of days and nobody enrolls, and then I keep marketing? I'm like, what if people judge me or think that I'm like weird or failing or not a good coach because I haven't filled those spots right away? And my mentor, which her name's Ashay, I've talked about her on here before, she was like, what's more important to you? Potentially being judged or like embarrassed in a couple of people's perspectives, or following what you're here to do and like continuing to put your one-on-one offerings out there until those spots are filled, knowing that you are meant to fill those spots. You are meant to coach and help guide others into their transformations. Like what are you going to give into? Are you going to give into the other people? And it's true. Like we get to decide what's more important. And the minds are taught from a young age to care so much about what others think. But it's like, if you live a life caring what others think, you're never going to live the life you came here to live. the life that you really desire and dream of.
And that's such a powerful skill too, to master. It will change your life, is that shifting the perspective of how you look at something.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally reading this in a book last night. I'll have to look up what the title is. It's like the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop talking about joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look up the title and can share it here. But that's like the chapter I was reading last night was exactly that. Like it was all about creating true joy in your life. One of the pillars, there's like several, but one of the pillars is your perspective. And what is your perspective on a certain situation? Because living a joyful life doesn't mean you're never going to have challenges and obstacles or struggles,
Right.
but it's the energy and the perspective that you bring to those situations.
Yeah.
And so when you can look at it in that different light, instead of it being like, oh, what are people going to think of me if no one signs up for my program? Or I'm going to show up the very best that I can and do my life's work because that is what I'm feeling called to do. And I'm going to give it my all. Right. Those are two, it's the same situation, but those are two very different ways of looking at it.
Yeah. And I just had somebody, actually, just one more example. This girl was in my DMs because she saw that I invested a while ago in a coach, and one of my mentors has a self-paced course that I bought, and somehow this girl figured out that I was in that course and she had just bought it. And so she wanted to know, like, hey, how'd your launch go of your course? Because basically the course that I bought was taking you step by step on how to launch a course. And so she was like, how'd your course launch go? I'm like, yeah, it went really well, and everybody in the course is thriving and they love it. And she obviously like wanted to know like how many people enrolled and whatnot. So we were kind of chatting about that. And she says back to me, well, I'm on day 2 of my launch and only one person enrolled. I'm not happy. And I responded to her and I'm like, so something that mentor doesn't really teach in this course that you're in is energetics are everything. And the way that you're going to look at one person enrolling in on day 2, like, so you've been launching for what, a day and a half and one person enrolled. You can either look at it like, I'm not happy. That was a waste of money to even be in this course and learn how to launch my own course because like it's day and a half in and only one person enrolled and I'm just not happy about it. You can have that attitude, but as you guys all in the Pretty Vibe tribe know, what you focus on expands. Or you can have the perspective of, and this is literally what I DM'd her or voice messaged her, like word for word. You can look at it like, oh my gosh, I'm only on day 2 of this 14-day launch and somebody already enrolled. I'm so excited for this person to go through my course. I'm so excited for them to dive into the content. I'm so grateful for them being here. One person is in, and that made this whole thing worth it. You choose how you see that situation, and it will determine your reality. Like if she, and I have voice message from her back, and I'm sure that it kind of woke her up a little bit, but if she would have chose the whole launch to focus on like, oh, this sucks, only one person's enrolled, that's going to be the energy for the rest of her launch. And she's probably going to end up like not wanting to ever launch again. But if you put your energy toward, oh my gosh, somebody's in, and you look at it from that perspective, that's going to expand as well.
And you make it fun. Like this reminds me of what we talked about on our last episode with Jamie Varon about writing a book.
Yeah.
And how people are like, writing a book is so hard. You're going to struggle. You're going to get writer's block. Like it's terrible. You have to force your way through it. And she was like, I had literally the exact opposite experience. It was the most expansive, abundant, fulfilling, joyful experience writing this book. And she did the same thing. She wrote a book, and it all depends on the energy that you bring to that situation. Right. Oh, I love that so much.
I know. So good.
So talk about the nudges. You're getting nudges too, Sarah. What is going on with you?
All right. What's happening in my life? So I'm still living in West Michigan as of now, but I am moving. And actually I haven't told anybody. I mean, my close friends and family know this, but I'll share it here. So, and this is actually, there's great wisdom in this story. And maybe I dropped it on the podcast before, but the mind in me was planning on moving to Costa Rica for the winter because it quote unquote made sense. The mind in me had a list of reasons as to why Costa Rica just made complete sense. It's closer to home. People can fly and visit me. I know somebody living there. I literally know, like, not even kidding you, I know 6 different people visiting Costa Rica this winter, just as like a winter vacation. So I was like, oh, I'll have people like being there and visiting, and there's a spiritual community and it's going to be in the 70s. The mind had all the reasons as to why Costa Rica was where I was going to go the winter. And then things started to not work out super smoothly, starting with the place that I was going to stay. I was emailing back and forth with the manager of the place I was going to stay, and that person started being flaky and not responding. And so that kind of gave me like a maybe don't stay here. So then I started looking into Airbnbs, month-long Airbnbs, and there weren't really any amazing options for what I desired to pay. And so that kind of like threw me for one. And so as I was looking, there's these Airbnbs, all of a sudden a nudge from my body, can't say what it was. It wasn't words. It wasn't any, it was literally a nudge, like a pull to Portugal. Like just like and it, once again, it wasn't words, but it's like the feeling I felt in my body turned into words of check out Airbnbs in Lisbon. And so I started doing that. And as I was doing that, my body was just like so lit up and it felt very expansive. And I was instantly starting to find these Airbnbs that were super aligning with the vibe that I desire and what I want to pay. And then I started creeping on somebody who I know is living in Lisbon right now. And my body was lit up even more, seeing all the coffee shops and the yoga studios and everything that I'm into. And so
wild though. Like one thing I want to point out already is the shift in feelings you got from when you were planning in Costa Rica and things like weren't feeling quite right, but your mind was like, this place makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the feelings and the excitement that you were getting once you got that nudge and started looking and exploring.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly,
like, don't ignore that, you guys.
Right.
Like
yeah.
Those feelings are there for a reason.
And okay, so what makes this even more wild, because we talk about this a lot on the show too, that your soul just knows. This is why your intuition is always right. This is why you feel like your intuition is kind of a superpower sometimes. I remember, I think I've told the story before, but I'm not going to go into full detail, but basically my intuition told me something that I'm like, how the hell did I know that? Like, how did I know that this girl was with this guy at this exact moment? Like, how did my soul know that? It was the craziest thing, because there's no way I could have known. And I just like got this hit to like look at where they were at and find friends, and they were together like at the randomest day, randomest time. It was weird.
Yeah.
So, but it's not weird because our soul knows. Our soul is connected to the divine, to God, to higher power source, which knows our entire life's path. And so what makes this story even more wild is that when the mind was planned in Costa Rica, the idea of the mind was, okay, fly to Austin, because you guys, I was also supposed to be at Breathwork Teacher Training Graduation because I was a mentor for everybody who went through that. And so my mind's plan was go to Austin, fly from Austin to Costa Rica. That was my original plan, is like, I'm going to book this to Costa Rica. I'm going to be in Costa Rica for the month of November. I'll fly back for Christmas, and then I'll go back to Costa Rica to be there for the winter. And I was like so close to booking that so many times until the soul started feeling like, maybe we do Portugal. And so then I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of give myself space. I'm going to drop the November idea of Costa Rica. Like, I'll just stay here for Thanksgiving or whatever. I'll just go to Austin and I'll fly home. Well, part of what I'm leading up to is I got COVID literally the day before I was supposed to fly out to Austin for that graduation. And so like connecting dots and bringing this full circle on how wise my soul is, me missing Austin, of course it sucked. Like it sucked. It was such a bummer.
I missed you so much.
Yeah. It was like, it was just really, really sucked. There's no other words for it. It was a huge disappointment. However, it was only, I think we booked an Airbnb from Thursday to Monday, and it was just like a 4 or 5 day trip or whatever. And so like, I could get over that part. But if I would have listened to the mind and forced the Costa Rica to happen, like I was going to, like, there was a part of me that was like, just book I told myself so many times, book your ticket from Austin to Costa Rica, just do it. And you'll figure out the stay, you'll figure out the Airbnb later. But I didn't do it because I listened to my body of like, maybe we want to go to Portugal. If I would have forced the mind to book that ticket, it would have been so much worse for me, like getting COVID when I did, because that would have ruined pretty much my entire Portugal trip. And I am a Sky Miles member with Delta. So thankfully I got all of my points back for the Austin trip, but I wasn't going to fly Delta to Portugal. So I would have lost out on money there. I would have probably lost out on the Airbnb that I booked for the month of November. Like it just would have been so much more chaos. And so it's almost like my soul knew I was going to get COVID. And like my soul knew that this was not the time to go to Costa Rica, if not now, like ever. And so that's like the first thing that's happening in my life is like I'm moving and like there's all these moving pieces. So finally I landed on Portugal. So my biggest update right now is just that I'm getting ready for a move back to Europe, which I am so thrilled about.
Me too. I'm like so excited to like live vicariously through you.
Yes. I'm excited. I've lived in Europe twice, once in Prague, once in Madrid. I haven't been back since I came back from Madrid because, well, COVID. And now the world is like opened again for the most part. Europe is. And so I'm making that move to Lisbon probably at the end of December. So we're in 2021, almost 2022 right now. So end of December, early January, I'll be making that move. And so with that, there's a lot coming up too. So obviously going back to COVID canceled the Austin trip for me. So I didn't get to go watch all the mentees graduate, which sucked. And it was happening for me. All of it has. It's been like a win whirl. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, I kind of posted about this a little bit yesterday, which when you're listening to this, it will be last week, but go find the post of me lying down on the floor, look like with zero makeup on. I do have a filter on it. So like you can't really tell, but like, I just look really raw in that photo. And it was after a breathwork session I had Monday. So basically over the weekend of not being in Austin, I had COVID. So like I was feeling a little physically ill, but I basically was just like in my dark room, just like feeling my feels and just like having a pity party for myself. And that following Monday, I was feeling a little bit better. So I like went to get back to work and I hit a wall halfway through the day and I felt like shit, like not even physically, it was just mental, emotional shit coming up, like uninspired, not motivated. I don't want to work. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my business? Like all these, limiting self thoughts were coming up that were resulting in feelings of feeling like really stuck and off. And so I was like, okay, I need some space. So I shut my computer and I turned on a recorded breathwork session and it was a 30-minute one. So I did breathwork and it was the most painful breathwork session I've ever had in my life. Like I felt a lot of physical pain that I know were emotions coming to surface. And I screamed and I cried and I moaned and I shook and I just all the things the entire time. And afterward, of course, I felt lighter. Like chances that you don't feel lighter after a meditative breathwork session are very slim.
Right.
So I felt a little relieved after I was feeling my feels.
What breathwork session was it?
It was one by this guy named Jason. He owns a company called Revelation Breathwork. I just randomly found him. And so it was one of his 30-minute lunch break ones. So it wasn't anything like the theme wasn't even profound. It was literally like, and Mary and I were talking about this before we started recording, you are your own healer at the end of the day. So it's like, no matter what the theme is, like whether sometimes you'll vibe with the theme and you're like, oh, I needed this. But like for me, it was just some random theme that I just like chose one that I just wanted a 30-minute one because I didn't want to do an hour-long session.
I think it just comes back to like, yeah, the themes can really resonate and take a really great session and take it even further. Mm-hmm. But even if you don't resonate with whatever the, facilitator is speaking to, as long as you show up and breathe, your body and your breath will do the work. Exactly.
Your body's always going to give you what you need. So yeah, I had this like really painful session. And then when literally just long story short, cause I'm not ready to share fully, the breakthroughs I'm having right now. I think they're still like integrating into my beingness. And I think there's going to be a lot of like beauty and wisdom and expansion within myself and therefore for you guys as I evolve on this, what I'm going through right now. But basically that breathwork session on Monday cracked me the fuck open. And I don't think that would have happened. I mean, if I had been in Austin with you guys, it would have been more of like blissful, uplifting, and that's great. And you all need that.
Okay. I'm going to cut in because no, like we use those exact words. Like in Austin, we were all cracked wide open.
Yeah.
And it was emotional and it was raw and it was not pretty at sometimes.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like you were feeling that energy
Right.
in Michigan while we were in Austin.
Yeah. Cause we're all so connected. I love that. So it's like, but with that said, so what I'm getting at here is like the Austin weekend in my mind was like, this is a retreat. I'm going to connect. I'm going to be happy. And even that was really my first experience in Austin too, is like, I had a lot of really like happy breakthroughs, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh yeah, but like Monday I had like not a shitty breakthrough. It was an amazing breakthrough, but it's like, I felt a lot of pain that clearly needed to be felt.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. Like, I just think that all of this is like just so perfect. I don't know that I would have hit that wall on Monday if I had been in Austin over the weekend, like filling my cup. You know what I mean?
True.
So I was like hitting like a dark black hole. And Monday, that breathwork session coming out of it, it cracked me open to a lot of shit that started surfacing. And so we're recording this on Friday. This all happened Monday. So basically this week has been an emotional wind whirl and lots of ups and downs and lots of like questioning everything in my life and lots of points where I'm like, so my coach calls it the underworld. I love that term. It's like, I've been in the underworld this week. And when you're in the underworld and you let yourself be there and like really open yourself to the underworld, and when you accept, and instead of getting stuck and spiraling in another world, when you choose to take the underworld to spiral up, a lot of fucking magic comes from it. And so basically I'm in this point in my life right now where I'm having this massive breakthrough that, long story short, like there is another level of me coming, and the mind in me has no idea what to expect at all. I'm feeling, and actually, yeah, I thank you. I love that. I heard from my inner voice, which I hear from my inner voice a lot, but it's mostly just like words, like one word at a time. But I was in a session with my coach and we were going into my body, and I heard my inner voice basically be like, the voices you've been hearing in your head lately are not yours at all. It's your time to like find yours again. And you guys know, of course, you know, like I've been on this journey for about 4 years, and the person I was 4 years ago is completely different than the person I am today. The person I was 4 years ago was 120% conditioned and living based on my parental beliefs and like my upbringing and all of the things. And now I'm like a very, very different person. And I am a firm believer that this journey is never ending. There's never like a getting there. It's always evolving. And so I just feel like I'm on the edge of another like cracking open level up, and I'm super excited to see what's coming. And it's scary too. Like, obviously I'm leaving everything I know. I'm leaving my home. I'm like, obviously you guys know I'm dating Zach, and so like that's a whole thing with the relationship, and I'm leaving like all friends and family, and I'm going to a foreign country. I've been to a lot of countries in Europe, but I have not been to Portugal yet. So knew everything, and who I'm about to become, like I said, the mind doesn't know. The mind has no idea what's about to happen at all. And that can be scary because it's unknown, right? The minds are afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going to go on with myself in my life, in all of my relationships and my friendships and my business? Like, what's going to happen? No fucking clue. But I'm opening to it because I'm here to live. I'm here to really live life and like feel the shit and feel the scariness and feel the fear and do it all anyway, because I'm not here to live a content life. Like I've made that very clear. I'm not here to live a content life. I'm here to live like a really fucking wild, beautiful life.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Bro, you're speaking from your soul right there. I love it.
I know. Thank you.
Well, and I was telling you too, like it is very scary and different scenario completely, but I see parallels with like me going on this weekend trip to Austin. Obviously you moving to a country is very different than going a weekend away, but the anticipation of leaving and how's everything going to go? And like, is Ava going to be okay without me? Like that weighed really heavy on me. And it's like the anticipation of it, our minds just kind of go crazy, and you do it and you experience it in the moment day by day. And it's exactly what you need because you are being called and nudged to do that. And by the time you are on the other side and you look back, you're going to be like, damn, I needed that more than I ever even knew.
Yeah. Well, and something too that I'm actually intentionally practicing right now is, so as of today, we are recording this on November 12th, 2021. My plan is to leave at the end of December. So I have a little over a month. And so something I'm really like, this is my perfect opportunity to practice is presence and taking everything day by day, because when I leave on December 28th or January 4th or whenever I end up leaving, I will be leaving in the present moment, which is a really hard thing for the mind to grasp. But it's like, that's not here yet. You know, like the mind in me, not the mind, well, the mind too, the mind and the soul, we've all agreed, like all different parts of Sarah have come to the agreement, the soul agreement that we will be leaving. But the future doesn't exist yet. The past doesn't exist anymore. It's like here and now is all we have. And even, you know, for the next month and a half, like I get to really practice my presence and taking things day by day. And the mind is also getting a little caught up on this breakthrough right now. Like, oh, when you leave, then you can have the breakthroughs. And I heard that happening yesterday after I had this breakthrough, or after this breakthrough started, I should say. I started to hear those voices. And then once again, my soul is just like really coming online right now, and instantly shot that down. Was like, nope, it's not a win then game. You now realize that like you need a lot of space from everything to level up and to get your next breakthrough. And it gets to start now.
Yeah.
And it fully has. I mean, since that session with my coach, like everything is already changing because I'm choosing to be present instead of play the when then game. And I'm choosing to practice. I put my all the tools in my handy dandy toolkit. I'm putting them into action, and I am embodying them to let this whole life experience be turned into wisdom. That's really what it ends up doing, is like everything that we're flowing through right now, Mary, you and your life, me and my life, and all of you listening, everything that you're flowing through, if you keep your heart open, it turns into divine wisdom, which is why your soul is here.
Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm so glad that we did this episode, and
it reminds me of our coffee chats, which I also feel like we need to share more of those too.
Absolutely. I loved our coffee chats. Yeah. We'll be doing these. Well, first of all, I guess let us know if you like this episode. Message us and let us know what you thought about it, and if you like this style of episode, because we did our coffee chats on Instagram for a while and they were a hit. I mean, we got a lot of feedback. They were great. Yeah. And so obviously this is kind of coffee chat on steroids because we go a lot deeper, but let us know if you like this style of episode, because I think it would be really fun to do on like every 8 weeks. And, you know, Mary and I we really do like to keep you guys in the loop of what's happening in our personal lives. I think sometimes we can get caught up in like, what are we teaching today? And what wisdom are we sharing? But it's like, I feel like, and you guys are the only ones who can tell us this, but I feel like us letting you into the wisdom and the lessons as they're happening, and like kind of giving you the backstory as to how they come to fruition, is probably pretty powerful.
Well, I feel like, I feel like I don't know where I learned this or got this idea of like, don't teach on something that you haven't fully processed yourself.
Yeah.
And so I feel like some of these things I kind of just keep to myself, where I also feel like this is a safe space for us to share, like in the moment. Hi, this is like exactly what I'm going through right now. And do I have it all figured out? Maybe, maybe not, but kind of giving you like you're along for the ride with us, because the journey never ends.
Exactly. Do you have anything else to share, Mary?
Ava is going to be 6 months old. Dude. And I can't believe it.
She's the cutest. I feel like you need to turn the video of you coming home into a reel or like some funny GIF or something.
I should, because it's very funny. And
so funny. I died.
Yeah, I died too. So I'll share with you guys. When I got home, I was like so excited to see her, obviously. And in my mind, she was going to be like thrilled to see me, because like when Jake gets home from work, we get hype. We're like, Dad's home. Whoa. Like she's giggling, laughing, like so excited. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to record her reaction.
I totally would have done the same thing. Absolutely.
So I like walk in, and I'm walking and I find her, and she just stares at me. No smile, no frown.
Widest eyes too.
Like
what's happening?
Who are you? Like, I think I know you, but I don't remember because I'm a baby. And you could tell like the little wheels are slowly turning. Like, I think I know this person, but it was so funny, you guys. So I should.
I see. I got the impression from her that like she knew who you were, but she was shocked to see you. It's like, wait a second. Like how? Like how are you here? It's almost like magic. Like, whoa, wait, what?
Right.
Like you were here
earlier,
and then
it's
been a while, and like I've been waking up to like dad and grandma and grandpa, and now here you are. Like, what are you magic? Well, because she's still trying to figure out the world and like what is life, right?
I know.
I really do think she recognized you, but she was just like shocked, like, oh, whoa, she's back. My bestie's here. She's back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we're back together. We're besties again. Oh, it's so good to see her again. But yeah, no, she's gonna be 6 months. When this episode drops, she would have just turned 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, crazy. It's really fun. She's like, we're like practicing walking. Not that she's like remotely close to walking.
We're my God, that's bizarre.
But like, and she's like moving her arms and legs, like she's getting ready to crawl. And yeah, it's
the first year is so fun.
I know, so many changes. So that's kind of the other just big thing is keeping up with that one and and being present in the moment and like not getting too caught up in all the things, exciting things that are to come with her growing and developing, but really embracing the moment. But
yeah, I love it.
No, that's it. That's
our little vibey baby.
Yes, our vibey baby. Do you have anything else, Sarah, or is that all for today?
I don't think so. I'm just getting really excited for the holidays, and it's so fun going out. Zach and I had to run errands before this episode, and just seeing all the holiday stuff out is really fun for me. And I actually just applied last night to adopt a family, which I'm super stoked about. We did that last year.
Ooh, and I need to connect with you on that because
oh my God, it was so like the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. And it was fun. I don't have kids yet, so it's fun shopping for kids, and it just feels so good. And it's hard because when I'm going through and applying and like saying how many families I want, and there's also a website I was seeing where like people would put themselves on there. I'm like, I just want to adopt them all. And I have like hope in humanity and faith that like everybody will be taken care of because there are people who step up. So yeah, I'm just really getting excited for that right now, and really just working, like I said, on being present and same with you, like just really following every nudge in my body and starting to be a little bit even more raw and vulnerable on social media, which has felt scary. And ever since I've started doing it, I've gotten a lot of great feedback. So that's pretty much it.
The world is craving that truth and that like real rawness.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all experiencing it, but we're not always sharing and talking about it. Right. So I love that.
Yes.
Good.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to our show. Let us know if you loved it and what you loved. And like I said, all of the links to Breathwork will be in the show notes. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram, join our Her Vibe is Pretty podcast Facebook group, connect with us in all of the ways, and we will see you next week on the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.